All right. Sorry about the delay, everybody. I was in a work meeting that went 2 hours longer than what was scheduled on my calendar. So I was
Oh
expecting
no.
to be much more ready for today. Anyway, we're back with another indie designer interview, and I have on somebody that a lot of you are going to be very familiar with, Trekiros. He's awesome. He's a fellow content creator and designer, and he's active in my community and a lot of communities. He's super cool. Uh,
Hello.
Trek, why don't you just introduce yourself really briefly for those that maybe happened upon us here and aren't familiar with your content?
Sure. So, hey, I'm Trek. I'm a French game designer and software engineer. I've been also a silly little eyeball guy on YouTube for the past 3 years now, making videos, helping mostly GMs run smoother games. That's kind of my mission statement. And yeah, I've been working on my own game for about 2 years now, and recently released a video and a supplement for 5e where I give people a bunch of really cool magic items.
Yeah, and we are here to hang out and talk, but as always, we're trying to surface and promote indie devs. And so in the description of this video is a link to Trek's recent product, Trek's Treasure Trove. I'll put it up on the screen here as well, so what we're talking about. So Trek's Treasure Trove, and there is a physical product that you can purchase here, right? Like you
Yes.
can order. It's a deck of magical items, and from what I understand, most of the art was actually done by another awesome content creator, Nagobi,
All of
and
it, yes.
yeah, like it is a totally the indie scene and people putting together a project. So it's very cool. And what we're going to talk about today is, you know, we're not going to like dig into exactly what's in this product. It's pretty
I,
self-explanatory. It's a ton of awesome magic items, but we're
I
going to.
tried to be prepared and prepare the thing. The
Oh, do you
problem
have a
is
pitch? Yeah,
I put my
hit me
own
with it.
link on it. So please don't actually use the link you're about to see. Use Peter's link. It is
Gotcha.
a better link. But yeah, I prepared this thing. So you can see it comes in a little mimic shape box. Don't
Oh,
use this. Don't
Trekero's
use this.
hand reveal.
No, those are actually the hands of someone else on the team.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, where are the
Uh,
claws that you've used? Oh, this is super cool. You know what? Let me
yeah,
actually. I'm gonna switch the way that you're being displayed to a bigger. There we go. You're a little bigger on the screen now.
you can see the different cards. We
Yeah.
also have a PDF version, and I think I'm gonna have also my link here. You can see on the PDF version we have this table of content
Oh, heck
with
yeah.
like extra information. So like there's a D100 table on it,
Yeah.
so you can roll for your loot and immediately get something interesting. There's like the rarity, the item type. There's also this column called roll, which is not something 5e has as a rule, but I think that's
Sweet.
something we're going to talk about today.
Yes. Absolutely. Um, because okay, I've shrunk you back down. I had you like bigger screen there for a moment so people could see. Shrunk you back down to regular Modron size. Because what I wanted to talk to you about is about magic item design and how there's this legacy in games about how magic items should work. And different people have very different opinions. And I know we're in the same camp of thinking a +1 sword is kind of boring.
It is.
A little bit,
It's
a little
not the
bit.
most interesting magic item of all time.
Agreed. And you have a great video on your YouTube channel where you dig into this in depth, right? About the different types or sorry, roles of magic items and how they play. Like, so what I want to ask you is about these roles and how they differentiate the categories that they tried to categorize things in D&D, like in modern D&D, where there's like implement or there's like armament, but those
Yeah,
aren't really what
wondrous
the
item, weapon.
role the magic item is fulfilling, right? Like, do you kind of
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? You want to unpack maybe your thoughts on the differences between how D&D baseline tried to categorize it and how you've categorized it.
Yeah, so D&D, at least for 5e, I'm not quite sure for older editions, but I think that's something we inherited from older editions of the game. it categorizes items based on what they look like. So you have weapons, wands, armors, etc. And then you have wondrous items. And if I bring us back to the table of content I was showing earlier, you'll see a bit of a problem with that. Because wondrous item includes basically everything else, you get it to a situation where if you ask a bunch of game designers, hey, please make the coolest magic items you could possibly come up with, this is what they're going to come up with. They're going to come up with about 80% wondrous items, because it includes anything from hats to tattoos to like a pen.
Yeah. They're not going to be like, hey, here's a +2 great axe. I made this magic item. That's really exciting.
The fact that we have an everything else category is a bit of a problem, because most magic items that are very cool are going to fall in that everything else category.
Yeah, right. That categorization isn't a functional categorization in a way that like is operable at the table, right? Like it doesn't tell you, the GM, really what you're giving them. Really, because they're these huge grab bags.
Checklist.
Yeah, it's a checklist.
If you have a fighter in your party, you probably want them to have at least a magic weapon at some point.
Yeah. Particularly in 3rd edition through 5e, not so much in 5.5 does it matter quite as much, but absolutely, you need to give them. You find the +2 whatever, you give it to them. Yeah, absolutely. Now I know 4th edition isn't your purview per se, but those that remember 4th edition, the magic item progression from +1 to +6, if I want to remember, had a recommended cadence and was part of the balance. You were assumed to eventually integrate magical items of a certain bonus at a certain rate. This became an annoyance for a lot of players, like my table, and because it limited the utility of magic items. Like you had to be part of this progression system. So what we ended up doing is adopting, I think it may have been in the DMG, if not, it was a really common house rule, that you just integrated those bonuses into the character progression, like built in.
Yeah, just as part of your level up.
Just when you get to a certain level, your magic bonus gets to +3 now instead of +2 because it's not that exciting. And like you talked about in your video, there are things that are just progression, right? Like this is better than you have right now, and that can be cool, but they don't remember that. Like there's not stories about it. You remember the weird thing, the immovable rod, placing it in front of a sailing ship in motion, and it tears a hole through the hull. That's like a moment you remember, right? With the immovable rod, or
because you're using this item in a way that you didn't expect when you got this item in the first place.
Yeah, and it engendered creativity in the players, because it doesn't have an immediately obvious use case. Like a wand of fireballs or necklace of fireballs, very obviously useful, very cool. Wand of magic missile, this has a very direct use. But when you get the alchemy jug, what do we do with that? I'll tell you what, and I always like to say, I'll tell you what we did. We dumped mayonnaise on a Sararak when he used greater invisibility on himself so that we could see where he was. Did the DM expect that?
Oh, that's a very cool use.
Because it also had the extra bonus of humiliation. To humiliate the lich by dumping mayonnaise on him. That was the only thing we ever produced from that alchemy jug. Anyway, so your product, as we've kind of talked about, is attempting to have more interesting options in those regards. And I see Salty Nick is kind of like previewing some people, like some of the stuff you have in the book. And like one that he noted, like a suction arrow, that doesn't have an immediate use case. Like this does an extra 2d6 fire damage, but it immediately makes me think,
In our case, I am going to make YouTube shorts about both of those, but we have 2 items that could be called the suction arrow. We had to choose which one would be the vacuum arrow and which one would be the suction arrow. One of them is like a toilet plunger.
Right.
So like
that's what I was imagining.
And it sticks to whatever.
Yeah.
The other one is it creates an area of silence wherever you shoot it, which can also be very useful in ways that my players are all too familiar with. I think Silence is probably the spell that was cast the most by our bard
Wow, that's
last
awesome.
campaign.
It shuts down spell casting. It does all sorts of
Prevents people
stuff.
from calling for
Yeah,
reinforcements.
reinforcements. Yeah, it gives you a tool that you need to figure out a solution for, or like you need to
Yes,
find the right problem for it. So
exactly.
yeah, I'm obviously super on board with this design ideology. I love that kind of thing. So maybe walk us through. I'm personally curious, like why you chose this as your next product, and like what was itching designer wise, like that you needed to, like what was pissing you off in design that you needed to go and build your own. I'd just like to pick your brain on that.
Uh, it's just been so long since I published my last book
That's fair.
that I kind of wanted to put something out there because I'm very much the kind of game designer who thrives on just having a team to work with and bouncing ideas back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know a lot of people, especially like indie game designers, they kind of struggle with things like self promotion. They don't like to put themselves out there. They just
Yeah.
want to focus on the game design. And I'm very much the same. But the moment you put me like responsible for putting someone else's work in front of people's eyeballs, I think the tribal instinct just kind of kicks in,
That's great. Yeah.
and I just go must protect tribe.
That's awesome. Well, yeah. Do you want to give any other? I mean, you have your co-authors and the contributors are listed on the page, so definitely check out them. There's some familiar faces, familiar
Yes.
names that you can find on there, because lots of awesome people were able to get in on this project.
Yeah,
Um,
we have a couple people who you might know from YouTube, like Val from Gods and
yeah,
Curiosities, Salty Nick,
Salty
Prof, who's
Nick.
in the chat right now.
Yeah,
We have a couple
Leo,
people, Leo as
who's
well.
not in the chat right now. Did Leo do some of the art, or was Leo doing design?
Leo didn't offer to do some of the art, but I wanted to keep it consistent throughout the deck. But I
Oh,
think for a future deck, if this deck is successful enough that we can justify doing a second one, like I
right.
know his art style would be perfect for monsters specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we're gonna talk about that
No, that's
if it
great.
comes to that.
Oh yeah, because so Nagobi is the sole artist on this
Yes,
project. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking there were so many that like, oh, surely you had to have multiple artists, but Nagobi just crushed it, huh?
absolutely, yeah. Uh, Back, I think it was during Dungeon Jam last year. She published a video and a dungeon for Dungeon Jam, which had these Thry-Kreen bartenders in it, and like the
Mm,
art style for it immediately made me go, "Oh, this is brilliant! This is exactly what I would want in like a series of cards."
right.
So like I I just offered the idea. She said yes for some miraculous reason
That's
that I
great.
still don't understand. And yeah, we've been working together since then.
That's
Like
great.
for context, usually when you work with artists, it's very bad to propose like a royalty split to artists.
Hmm.
They want to be
Yeah,
paid
paid
in
up
advance,
front, or yeah.
paid up front. Yeah. Uh, so like I offered, but I was very clear. I just didn't have a budget, so it was completely fine if she denied, and she just wanted in on the project, and
That's
I'm so
awesome.
glad because that thing would have looked so much worse without her help.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. Finding a right artist too, or somebody that matches the aesthetic, it's also very satisfying. Oh,
Yeah,
and
it
for
would
the
have
for the
probably
folks,
had to be stock art, but then
yeah,
the problem with stock art is you need, if you have 60 magic items like we do, you need to find 60 pieces of stock
so
art
much
in
stock
a
art.
slightly similar art style, and that's just not feasible.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
We wouldn't have that level of quality without her.
Yeah. Oh, and if more people are showing up in chat, and if anybody in chat has questions for Trek about the product, about what he's working, anything about that, definitely post it. I'm trying to read them over here, and we will answer questions. Oh, hey Fortunato, and oh, lots of familiar folks from the design communities popping in. Hello,
Hello,
everybody.
hello, hello.
Hello. But that's great. I love what I've been seeing in the last year or two is indie designers and creators really like leveling up collaboration. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I know the credit goes to the handful of people that have really spearheaded this, Nagobi being one of them. Uh,
Yeah, these past few
I'm
years we've
blanking.
had Dungeon Jam, we've
Dungeon
had
Jam, yeah, it's
Monster
like
Week
Davi's been helping.
also.
Yeah. Um,
I think for
yeah.
a while, like throughout all of last year, except for the first couple videos I made, I don't think I had a single video without a cameo from another D&D YouTuber,
Right? Yeah.
which was kind of incredible. That's not how these things used to go. Like just a couple of years ago when I started, that nobody
Right.
would collab really.
Yeah, I started at a great time, right on the beginning of a lot of that collaboration.
Yeah.
And now, like, my face pops up in other people's videos, or I just messaged Davi the other day and I said, "Hey, can you send me a sinister picture of your face smiling?" He's like, "Yes, I have an idea," I said. And he like didn't have follow-up questions and just said yes. Right? It's
Just immediately.
yeah, like there's this community forming of dungeon tubers who are not only like having fun collaborating on their YouTube content, but also it's an opportunity to help people get published credit on products, even pay when there is
Yeah.
money to be made. So that's very cool. There's definitely a apes together strong kind of vibe building, which is awesome. Yeah, that's good stuff. So just to kind of go back to game design as I keep meandering,
Yes.
'cause I feel like we don't like just sit down and chat all that frequently, and so
Well, it's because you're so busy.
I
I
am.
want to hang out. I want to play some more Tales from Elsewhere.
I know. My schedule. I've actually overscheduled myself lately too. I have overbooked, and I need to calm down because it's very stressful. Uh, the whole idea of like doing interviews is great, and I love them, but I overbooked myself, and I have a very busy day job.
I am
So
very glad to be part of the problem.
yeah, absolutely, and yeah, I'm ambitious, but also a tired old man, and so I need to balance that a little better. Um, Oh, Jordan showed up. Awesome. I just want to make sure. Oh, so Salty Nick does have a question. It says, did you come up with a magic item role category slowly through play, or did you sit down one day and go, all right, I want to categorize magic items, and worked at it? Right. So did you, through running your local games, with your local group, were you like slowly noticing the need for this, or did you like buckle down and build? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a combination of a bunch of different factors. One of them was just having access to thousands and thousands of magic items through third-party books like Griffin's Saddlebag and all that,
Right.
and just wondering like, okay, what do I even give to my players next session? Like, what do I include in the boss's treasure hoard or something? I just had so many options that at some point you have choice paralysis.
Yeah.
So I figured I need, like, this is not sustainable. I need some kind of a mental framework. I'm very much, as you can tell by the fact that I'm a robot on screen, someone with a very math brain and someone who thrives on frameworks.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the factors. Another of the factors is just coincidentally, I was working on my own game, Flareful. And in that game, one of the things I wanted to squash was the dynamic of like players doing character builds where they already know at the start of the adventure what their character is going to look like in 2 years.
Right.
Because that can be a bit boring and a bit like unsatisfactory in terms of narratively, right?
Right. Rather being open to play to find out who the character becomes. Right. Would be the juxtaposition there. Right. Yeah.
And so I was wondering, like, what kind of mechanics can I add to my game to add some surprise and add opportunities for the players to react to the event in the story? And I realized D&D has magic items, and that's kind of the role that they fulfill within D&D.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really
But
good
I'm
point.
not going to have magic items because I'm going to be a post-apocalyptic game.
Yeah. Weird science item. You can. There's maybe ways, but that's a really good point you're making though about how magic items are a form of character progression and character evolution, not in a strictly power fantasy way. Like this one is just better than this +3 sword's better than my +2 sword. But like I'm going to use an action RPG term here. They're build defining in that I
Yes.
found this. I play like Path of Exile. I play Diablo and all that stuff. So when you find this weird unique item, like whoa, I can build around this now. Like this will change my approach because now I have my mayonnaise jar, my alchemy jug, and now my whole combat approach will shift into grappling people and dumping mayonnaise on them or whatever it may be, right? I like that idea that there's things that could shift your approach, like the character's story shifts because of this magic item, right?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
It gets pretty weird though, because if you take a very build defining item, what you might end up with is players who will ask their GM, can I get this item in particular? And now, instead of being a surprise that takes them in an unexpected direction, is just part of the character build to begin with. But that's why in 5e you see so many supplements that introduce magic item crafting rules or magic
Right.
item shopping rules that give a price tag for every single magic item. You see that all the time, and it just takes this GM-facing mechanic and turns it into a player-facing mechanic.
Yeah.
Sometimes for good reason, sometimes because the players asked, and they asked for a faster, for a better horse,
Yeah. I've been at that table. I played in that game. I've played in one where at the start of the campaign, the DM even asked, give me your wish list of magic items, and I will put them in the game. And that's cool for like a build optimization standpoint, but it's like, well, I've just like controlled. There's no excitement opening that chest. There's less excitement, right? 'Cause it's not unexpected. You got this a lot in Adventure League, for those maybe who played a lot of Adventure League, where players would research which magic items drop from which adventures to go play in that adventure to get a specific magic item, right? Like they were now just about constructing your build, and it's a slightly degenerate form of gameplay. You'd had players that would dump stat their strength and then go play in an adventure that gave you the gauntlets of ogre power, so that they they would be like a paladin with 8 strength and like, hey, now I have 19, and they can have like super high everything else, right? Like that's not.
It almost shifts you from this role of being a player who is trying to discover the story to being a co-author of the story, but not in a creative way.
Yeah, not in a creative way.
I want gauntlets of magic of a giant power strength.
Yeah. You're playing it almost like an ARPG at that point, right? You're playing it like almost like a video game, where video games in which there's a goal of optimization, which ARPGs often are, right? They're about buildcraft. And like I like buildcraft, but I like when I include in that character storycraft, like coming up with an interesting character backstory and their initial setup. But if it were locked in forever, like I said, it becomes quite interesting. Oh, some people are saying impromptu TFE session right now, 1-on-1. Look, I'm running a session tomorrow. I can't. I gotta go back to work after this, folks.
Oh no, a blood ocular.
Ah! Your use of your avatar, your VTuber avatar, cracks me up. You're making good use of just a few poses.
I am very limited in my 3 poses, so I kind of have to get creative.
Yeah, it's surprisingly expressive. I think everybody would agree. Like your little character is fairly iconic now. Let me just catch up here on chat really quick. I allow my players to craft their own magic item game by spending time going with special ingredients, but there's other items always. Okay, it's peasantry. It's Zachary. Yeah, that's a cool way to do it.
Both. You kind of need both in a way. If we go back to, and this is going to be like the super nerdy stuff that I could not include in the video because I have to care about viewer retention.
But here,
all that
here we talk all the nerdy
stuff. Here we can get nerdy. So there's a bunch of frameworks. Again, I'm a framework person. About game design, one of the most famous one, and if there's game design nerds in chat, like this thing has some criticisms, but it's still very useful. It's called the MDA framework, and one of the things it talks about is players usually come to games for a variety of different reasons. It
Right.
lists 8 of them. Maybe there's more, maybe there's less. Who knows? But it lists at least 8 of them. One of them is submission, and it's the idea that the more time you put into a game, the more the game rewards you for putting that time in, with stuff like level up or finding cool loot. So that's one of the core reasons that actually gets
Yeah.
players to play a game. So that's still important, even if we kind of feel like maybe that's not the thing that makes TTRPGs unique. That's still a factor in TTRPGs, even if we have all of that other stuff on top of it. So
Yeah.
like we need that, but then we also need all of the narrative stuff, because that's just another reason why people play those games.
Yeah, there's not one right way to play a game. But as a designer, because we don't just talk in theory here, right? We are people who are making games, the people in chat, and you and me, Trek. You have to intentionally include support for one of the, to use the Magic the Gathering terms, like your Timmys, your Vorthoses, your Johnnies, right? That's like my familiar, and there's a lack of utility to those, I know, but
Absolutely.
we're using them gesturally here. There's people who want different things out of a game. And it is your choice as a designer which of those you support, right? Like that's your choice. And if you don't support some aspects of it, that means that category person may not be interested in your game. That's okay though, but you should do it intentionally, not just cause, right?
Just because you made a game that was just for yourself and for nobody else, then that's kind of accidentally putting a lot of people outside of your target audience, even though like with just a couple tweaks, maybe they would have enjoyed your game.
Right, exactly. And it's not even like you don't have to betray your design goals necessarily. So, for example, we're talking a lot about just magic items that are super fun. Oh, Salty Nick says you should put your cowboy hat on. By the way. So we're talking about magic items that are more about creativity and are questions rather than answers and all that kind of stuff. But there are some people that the thing they would be most excited for is just that +3 greatsword. Whatever the thing that does the most damage, that's it.
Absolutely.
That is it. That is also okay. You can have both in a game, right? It is possible.
We made sure to include a few of those in the deck. I was very much biased against those myself, so I kind of told the team, let's have as many items that I find cool as possible. But we still had some items. A couple days back, I released a short called "Sometimes Your Players Just Need to Feel Incredibly Cool." And it's that anime ability, like it gives them the ability to just teleport 120 feet and just hit someone, like teleport in the back and just say "Nothing personal, kid."
Yeah, and then they die.
And then they die.
Yeah, well, like I just noticed because the thumbnails on here, and you've kind of talked about it in your video, like the lunar scimitars are like powerful. It's a powerful set of weapons, from a just power gamer standpoint. Like they are effective because they give you effective things to do, but they're also like cool. They aren't just extra damage,
Yeah. This is one of the 4 categories I ended up with. I think I could have added a 5th category of just consumable items, because I think they're treated differently enough by players to warrant their own kind of like little space in your mind.
Hoarded forever and never used, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Like if I had a category of consumable items, I would have talked about how to avoid that.
Yeah.
But like the lunar scimitars and that scabbard that allows you to go "Nothing personal, kid."
Yeah.
They're part of what I call trophies. And the thing about trophies is you want to tease your players. You want to promise those trophies ahead of time. Because once they get them, like if it's a +1 sword, it's just a +1 sword. But the more hyped you can get your players about the prospect of getting their hands on it, the more it will actually impact your campaign.
Yeah. Tease them. Yeah, tantalize them. Telegraph that like there's a legendary bandit nearby. Seen Like, people are saying he has 2 scimitars.
Oh
And
no, even worse, he has one scimitar, and you're gonna
yeah,
need to go on a separate quest to get the second one.
exactly. Or you keep hearing about this guy in a trench coat and sunglasses who keeps teleporting behind people and stabbing them. Yeah, like you can build up to it, and then it's such a cool moment when they get it. And we're talking a little bit about heroic fantasy here, and to self-plug slightly, I just like a couple hours before this released a video on the subject of heroic fantasy.
Yes.
And magic items, I don't talk about magic items much in that video, but magic items are another way to help fulfill heroic fantasy, because the teleporting nothing personal kid scabbard is heroic fantasy right there. It is
Absolutely.
powerful and dramatic. And getting a +2 longsword instead of a +1 longsword doesn't fulfill that fantasy as much. The fact that it's a magical sword could, but a slightly higher to hit bonus, just a little bit more,
Yeah,
a little bit more
it's
damage.
not much.
It's not much. It's not that it's nothing, but
Yeah, like I think there's a stat, I don't remember where it comes from, but like a 5% bonus is the smallest perceivable bonus for players usually. So a +1 sword is exactly that. It's just a 5% bonus on whatever you do.
right.
But a nothing personal kid scabbard, that's a new thing entirely that you couldn't do before.
Yeah, that's you grow in breadth, and that's cool. And you talk about this in your video. Watch Trek's video, by the way, on this. I think it's your most recent long form video.
Yes.
You've released some shorts since then, but if you go to his channel, the how can I put this? The Marshall Caster divide. If you're not going to rebuild, if you're playing in a game that has issues with that, like 5th edition, as time goes on, giving the fighter or the barbarian the nothing personal kids. What's the actual name of this, by the way?
It's the lightning scabbard, but
Lightning
I think it's a way
scabbard.
cooler name.
Yeah,
Call
the
it
nothing personal kid scabbard.
scabbard.
You give that to a character that wouldn't otherwise have access to that ability, and now they feel more broadly powerful, which is a really nice feeling. Or I haven't read through all 60 of the items, but these items that they can help marshals feel really cool and achieve a feeling of heroic fantasy, and I like that a lot. And you talk about this in that video, which was apt indeed. Let me catch up. I'm seeing some messages
Yeah, I
here.
think we got a question earlier, actually.
How do you feel about temporary magic items or rechargeable magic items? We have several of those with skill and narrative tie-in, and I think you just said something about that when I was typing. Well, yeah, you want to talk about items that are one-time use or very limited in use, and how you think... This is kind of on the subject of consumables. So maybe you want to unpack your thoughts on consumables
Consumables
magic
in general.
items. Yeah, let's
I
drill
think
into consumables a little bit.
I think you had a video on consumables a couple months back, actually.
I think it was
And
like
I
a
might have
year
sent
ago.
you like a whole wall of text in the comments of that one.
Yeah, I got a lot of comments in that video. It was something like "potions are boring" is that video.
Yeah,
and I got a
that
lot.
was kind of my opinion. I think,
Yeah,
like for 5e, 5e is a broad enough and modulable enough game that people will play it in very different ways.
yeah,
But for myself, I'm very much that Critical Role kid who will try to have character moments in it. And my problem with potions personally is it's very difficult to put character moments in the decision, like the logistical decision of do I drink a potion or not? It's
yeah.
usually just a math problem that the players would be solving here. So that's kind of my problem with potions. And you can see a couple different games tackle this in different ways. Like The Witcher will make potions poison you, for example.
Right. Yeah, you have your toxicity level or some such.
Yeah, so now it's kind of a character moment because drinking that potion also tells like that your character is a risk taker.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's a narrative tie-in in the world about these potions. Like in Witcher in particular, it's why no one else can use them. it will kill
Yes.
them.
It will.
Witchers are the only ones that can properly metabolize them, and even they have their limits. A normal person that tries to use any of that just dies, which
Yeah, it
is
turns out if you drink stuff made out of monsters,
it's bad
you
for
will
you.
become what you eat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that kind of thing. Well, and this is an old video. I think it may have been over a year ago that I made the potions are
Oh.
boring video. I mean, time is weird, but the thesis of that is that what is red potion? It's just the most boring thing, and I hate it. That is the summary.
Yeah.
Red potion. What is that? It layers on top of hit points, which already bother me, an additional level of incoherent abstraction. Anyway, we won't dig into that in particular. That's just a Peter
Too
rant.
much.
Like if my hit points are an abstraction of my heroism and it's only like and avoiding hits, why does a healing potion do? Anyway, let's go. I saw another question. What are your favorite consumable items to give a new party of newbie players? Ooh, that's a fun question. I'll let you start off, Trek, if you have something.
There's so many. Like the one that's top of mind right now, because I mentioned it in the video, is a magic item from Nimble.
Yeah.
It's called Lumina, the Living Sunbeam.
Yeah.
And if I don't know if it's gonna show up on Google if you search it, but like it's a magic item, except it's a little sentient sun
super
ball.
cute.
It's adorable. Your players will get emotionally
Can't
attached to it,
Google this.
and then they will read the item description, which is you can make it sacrifice itself to heal your entire party and deal AoE damage to every single enemy.
But the little guy.
It's a little guy, but it's also a very powerful item.
Yeah,
So
that's
do you
great.
sacrifice the little guy?
I love that. I like my friends would sacrifice that little guy without a second
Anymore.
thought. Some people would. Some people would be like, "Why would I care about this little guy?" That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's fun.
that's when you whip out your squeakiest voice and you go, okay.
Yeah, like I hope you guys survive. Just this little guy. This is a relevant non sequitur, but I saw Amy Vorpal's like one woman musical show recently that she like kickstarted, and in it she talks about the type of NPC that a lot of DMs create, which is like just a little guy. Like DMs are always making like just a little guy, and the players always adopt them, and it's a really funny thing that a lot of DMs experience. Anyway, it's tough so like in D&D consumable wise, the one that always got my players were like dusts of dryness. They loved like weird, like what do you do with that? It's weird, and they always tried to like murder people with it. Like if I make somebody ingest dust of dryness, does it consume all the water in their body? Type of stuff. It's always
Of course they would.
absurd.
That's the
Yeah.
most player thing.
Exactly. Consumable. I was gonna say actually, Trek, is there a consumable in Flarefall that you find fun, or is that section of the game design not like quite done?
It's absolutely not done yet.
Okay, we won't have to.
We're working on it.
Because what I was gonna say,
I know I'm probably gonna do something similar to The Witcher, where the more consumables you take, the lower your max hit points become. So that's just a
put in
thing.
a natural limiter.
I'm not quite decided yet if this game is gonna even have consumables with like you would track how many of them you have. It would just be something a bit more like the Cyberpunk video game, for example, where if you have a consumable, you just have that consumable, and now you can choose to use it.
I see. Yeah, that could be a way to do it.
The way they balance it in that game is every single consumable shares a cooldown.
Right.
That
So
probably wouldn't work in a tabletop RPG, but like there's other ways.
You can make it work. There's ways. There's ways. Yeah. For my game, it's actually a consumable heavy game.
Absolutely. The character I played when you ran the game for us, was just
like a drug dealer.
A drug dealer.
And exactly. London made the joke, if health is heroism, then healing potions are just alcohol. And this is a joke because I know, London, you've played a couple times. Have you played my game? And
alcohol is a healing potion.
It's true. And the approach I took in that is the consumables are all very useful and very available. like there's scarcity, but if you want to be somebody who has consumables, you can, and they're very useful. You don't want to hoard them because they cost weight, and weight is not unlimited, and you like need them. You need to like shakily drink that alcohol because you're getting strained so much and so frightful, right?
And a lot of those, if I remember, also give strain to whoever
There's
drinks them.
yeah, there's when you made the weird mixture concoctions, it had all these drawbacks.
Which
to
one?
it.
I had so many.
Yeah, I don't remember. There were all these wild. I don't remember the names.
There was
but
the stinky one. There was
yeah,
the colorful one.
yeah, and I have a lot of black market consumables that aren't. It's not that they're narcotics, but like Witcher, they're monster. They're part of their monster parts, and they harm you in various ways. And one of my favorite ones to give players is one called now I can't remember my own game. It's the Ichor from the Arizona Tenor, and consumptive Ichor, consumptive Ichor, and it's a one-time use consumable that basically it's like the etherealness spell from D&D, which in a game about mundane people is extremely powerful, right? You could walk, you could fly through walls and all that. The problem is it doesn't last very long, and when it's over, you like basically get tuberculosis. Like it's bad. Like you start coughing up pieces of your lungs, and it's really, really bad. And so you hand it to them, they're reading the entry like, oh, this is really cool. And then they read what happens when the effect ends. And they're like,
And suddenly
oh, no.
it's a poison now.
Yeah, like it's like gnarly. Like it critically injures you or something really bad. And so it's fun to give. I like cursed magic items a lot. I like handing people things that they're like, oh, that's really cool, but, right? But like sacrificing the little sunbeam, the little guy. It's like, it's really cool, but. So that's my favorite thing to give.
That's another one of the categories I come up with for the video. I call them catalysts because they're like story engines, right? They create those chemical reactions at the table.
Yeah, I think you even showed a picture. I think you showed the icon of the Shield of Arrow attraction or something. If I remember, I may be misremembering.
I believe so. Yeah,
like
cursed items
video.
in D&D are very much usually catalysts.
Yeah,
just because they have these downside built in.
Yeah, and that was speaking of like how those kinds of things can be build defining, because I think that's a really good example. We found that that was in the Tomb of Annihilation, and I put it on my paladin, and I'm like, this is a good magic item for me. I want all the arrows to come to me. I'm a tank.
It's a risk, but I'm taking that risk.
It's a risk, and especially when we got attacked by like a dozen archers, and I am just turning into a pincushion, but everybody else is okay. But that's a story moment that it enabled. So that's a great example of that kind of thing. I think I saw another question here. That's from Fortunato. Do either of you use any tavern games or party games to resolve things at the table? For example, I made an operation-style lockpicking maze with one player drawing with their eyes closed, 10 out of 10 stars. First of all, that's awesome. The drawing with your eyes closed or something like that. That's really cool. So yeah, Trek, do you use any mini games or tavern games at all within your RPG sessions?
Yeah, so one small detail about my D&D setting that I use at my home game is that it's a culture of people who think that cheating is beautiful and that you should do it, but like the worst offense you could possibly have in a game of like arms wrestling or a foot race would be to be boring. That's the thing that they don't like. So for example, I had a foot race a couple years back where the local priest was teaming up with a pixie that he picked up in the forest, and he said, okay, yeah, turn me into a T-Rex, I'm gonna run super fast. So that's the type of minigame I run. It's just trying to get my players in to be creative by telling them the point is to cheat. Please cheat in the most entertaining way possible.
Yeah, that's really funny. So yeah, you're still leveraging the in-game systems, but you're allowing them. Yeah, the purpose is to break it. Yeah. Oh, and Fortunato was saying, the other players, while the one player's eyes were closed trying to draw, the other players were trying to like verbally direct them. That's really funny. I don't usually run a lot of mini games that aren't kind of like Trek was described. I run kind of like what Trek is describing, where there's a goal that is a game within the fiction. I have, of course, done poker because I do westerns. So like actually playing a hand of poker is like you almost expect to do that. But for expediency's sake, I'll usually just do like a bluff mini game using in-game skills rather than actually having them do it.
One roll and it's done.
Yeah, because it's not like the major moment. And honestly, I you have varying levels of poker understanding at the table, and I often don't feel like teaching people how to play poker. In addition, like in the middle of a session, most of my friends know how to play poker moderately well, but all of them need the reference card of like what they had to keep checking the hands, the hand card. Like, wait, what is a good?
There's also a phenomenon I've noticed where, like, if you're a GM, you kind of have to build that skill of hiding your prep and making sure that the players are never really quite sure what's going on in your head, which makes you a lot better at lying than the average player. So
yeah, exactly. It's kind of there's like an inherent bias there.
yeah, they're not gonna have a lot of fun playing poker against the GM usually.
Yeah. And what I've found actually with so like Dragon Ante, but Six Dragon, I forget the actual full name of the official D&D in fiction like game that they produced. Somebody can maybe correct me on the name, but I've used that in a session. Like, oh, you get to the tavern and you play the game. Like, let's get out the game and play it. And honestly, it ruined the pacing because you have to get out a different game, set up a different game, go over the rules for 3 Dragon Ante. Thank you, because not everybody knew how to play 3 Dragon Ante. Like, it was this whole thing. It's like we're just playing board game night now instead of D&D, right?
Instead of D&D, yeah.
And for short things though, like what Fortunato was describing, where it's like you just get out a scratch piece of paper and draw, right? That's cool, because it doesn't significantly derail the actual game night. If you have to get out a separate rule book to do whatever this mini game is, you've now started playing a different game, right? Oh, Blackjack is good too.
Another one of the games I had, like this was a festival, so we had a bunch of games. Another one was this Scottish game where you have a huge log of wood and your goal is to toss it as far as possible. If I had resolved that with just a strength check, I think it would have been very forgettable. But the moment you tell your players, here's a huge log of wood, it's very heavy. Send it as far as possible. You have any means is acceptable.
Yeah, whatever weird abilities, features, spells, powers, right.
Yeah, a lot of explosions happened that day.
That's great. And
like suddenly their eyes just light up when you tell them that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, y'all don't need to watch this, but for those who aren't familiar with the Auntie Donna skit about teaching people board games, like if you have to break this out mid-session, I play a lot of board games and I read a lot of board games too, and there's this joke in the board game community about their complexity, about how board game people, or even RPG people, what they think is a complex game and what the average person is not.
Yeah.
So it's a very silly video I have just linked. I don't remember if there's any content warning. It's not bad. They might curse a little bit, but it's the Auntie Donna, which is a very strange Australian comedy group. So yeah, long story short, Trek and I don't do a lot of mini games. It sounds like that aren't just within the reality of the game world itself. That's a very good question. I want to do this operation style game you're describing, Fortunato. That sounds great. Like having a tinkerer rewire something and have them like, I don't know. That sounds really funny. Operation is very hard. I played it recently with my niece. Fortunately, I was describing how like the maze had like do not cross spaces and just all sorts of like little things. That's really funny. How are we doing that? So we've been kind of just taking some questions here. If anybody has questions, please post them. We've only got a little bit more time left. I'm gonna do another 10 minutes on the call or on the interview. What I wanted to ask you, and it's okay if you don't have a firm answer, Trek. This isn't in our. I want to know what is the next thing you're interested in working on. I'm just personally curious. What is Trek like fidgeting with?
I have a bunch of projects in progress right now. I think I said on my Discord server I have 5 videos in various stages of production. I'm recording one tomorrow, by the way.
Awesome.
But yeah, basically my goal for YouTube in 2026 is to figure out formats that are easier to produce without sacrificing the quality that I try to be known for.
Yeah.
You
No,
be
that
the
makes
judge of
sense.
whether or not I've been successful at it. But like, my goal is to, with YouTube, is to let people know I exist and that sometimes I make cool stuff like this deck of magic items or my game Flareful. So I want to keep the quality high, but put out more than one video every 3 months.
Yeah, your production process, especially with all the animation you have to do,
Yeah, when you only
is
have 3 pauses, it takes a bit of over editing in order to compensate and
yeah
make
to
the
keep
video
it visually.
watchable.
Because I can just like wave my hands around. I just sit at this desk and I like talk to my phone and wave my hands around. So that side of it is much easier to create something visually like stimulating,
Yeah,
right? If you just had a blanks like a screen with your Modron avatar not even moving, right? It's not visually entertaining for YouTube because we're talking about YouTube strategy here, right?
for
Trek
YouTube,
is
yeah.
a professional, like these are his revenue streams. So, we have to take different considerations for such things. Yeah, that's so yeah, focusing a little bit more on your content creation so that it doesn't take so much of your time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's also very much the year of trying to inspire people, I guess. Like, that's kind of the goal with the 50 days, 50 magic items
Yeah.
project, where every day I put out a short presenting one of the magic items in the deck, but not just presenting it, also telling people how I would use it in my own game
Yeah.
and explaining, like, oh yeah, this magic item, like, it's perfect for rogues, like for intrigue, political intrigue, spy missions, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to just show people that inspiration can come from everywhere.
I dig it. Well, I watch your content. Of course. Like, I'm obviously a little biased. Like, I think that's cool. More Trek content.
Yeah, I have a 3 posts on my Patreon if you want to go more in depth about like the type of stuff I've already announced. But yeah, like, there's this project, 50 days, 50 magic items. The next thing that's going to come out is probably a new series of videos called Capturing the Magic, where I take a piece of pop culture media. It could be like an anime, a video game. Like, last year would have been Expedition 33, for example, I think. And I try to show how to steal tastefully from it.
I got you. Like what to
and
learn and
yeah,
integrate into your
create
RPG
something
sessions.
new, something D&D-ish from
Nice.
something that's not meant to be D&D.
Yeah. I
So yeah,
mean,
right now I'm working on a video about Frieren, for example.
nice. I'm behind. I think there was a new season. I haven't watched it
Yeah.
yet. Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff. So game design wise, are you cooking anything up though, like product wise? I've played Flarefall once, and I'm just curious also how that's coming. Right? Is there any update there? Or it's cool if there isn't.
Yeah, I am working on updating the website right now, on top of everything else.
Yeah, you're a
So
busy
it's taking a
motor.
bit of it. Yeah, I'm a busy modern, and also on top of that, I have a health condition that means I can't work full time.
Yeah,
So things are taking their, like, I have my own schedule.
they happen when they happen. Yeah,
They happen when they happen.
yeah.
But yeah, I have been working on this update for about a year. I think, like, because I talked about my game on YouTube so early in development, people might have had the idea that it's way further along in development than it actually is. Like, I already made videos about the action economy, and as you know, because we playtested it,
Yeah.
I have already changed the
Like,
action
gotta
economy. I'm
change
not
it.
using action points anymore.
Yeah. Well, and it's your fault, Trek, for also making such a good looking website. Like your
Yeah.
test version just looks so good. It's like, oh, this looks like a complete final product already.
I mean, it is playable, but like, there's a big warning on every single
Yeah.
page that says don't get attached.
No, I
Everything
get you.
here is subject to change, and I think everything is changing.
Yeah.
Like, in the current update that I'm working on. in
As
the
they
background.
should, as they should. Oh, we got a couple questions. Want to make sure
If
we
you
get
have made Flareful characters, maybe download them or something before the update.
Yeah,
hits.
they're gonna get sacrificed, no doubt.
They're probably gonna get sacrificed.
So let me catch up on some questions here in our last handful of minutes. So we have how y'all feel about letting the players make up their own magic items. We did talk a little bit about this twice, Ted, I think before you hopped on the stream, and this is related to shopping lists in Magic items.
Yes.
And they are cool because the player then, like, they're getting involved in the narrative. But something we talked about is that it does remove the excitement of discovery.
Yeah.
Right.
You do need stuff for the players to look forward to, and you do need stuff for the GM to surprise the players with. Maybe make those two separate systems, like make the distinction very clear. Otherwise, you might end up in a situation like 5e, where a lot of people have this GM-facing system of magic items, and then they ask for a crafting system because they want to get their hands on it.
Yeah, they want to fiddle, and you can have both exist within a game. It's just about being intentional about them. So
Yeah, you have to be very clear.
yeah, they are cool, and I think they're cool. Those kind of things are cool when they're in fiction crafting, like the player is forging something or building it. But like, well, like in Flarefall, the version I played, your equipment is a random assemblage at the start of like weird features, but if I remember correctly, you can modify them.
Yeah, so this is a post-apocalyptic game. So one of the things I wanted to convey with it was the idea that your weapons are just built of whatever scrap you could find out in the wasteland. So each weapon comes with one random flaw and one random ability that you roll 1d10 plus your level. And that immediately tells you, okay, then when my level increases, I'm going to get to see different parts of that random table.
Right.
Different parts that are going to have more powerful abilities and less dangerous flaws. So that immediately tells you, like, okay, this is a path for improving my gear that is just available to me. What you didn't see in that playtest is that as the GM, every single stat block also includes a loot table, and some of those items on that loot table are flaws or weapon abilities that you can swap in for those random ones. So you can still surprise your players, even though they have this clear path for upgrading their gear.
Very cool. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Prophecy Breaker, you made a Taskmaster reference earlier. You said your task starts now, and I just want to acknowledge that as a big Taskmaster fan. Okay. Yeah. What game mechanic is Prophecy Breaker? Oh, sorry, Eden Left Behind. What's your favorite magic item you've improvised mid-session? I don't usually improvise magic items.
Yeah, me neither. I just have so many magic items, like from all of the third-party stuff.
Yeah.
I don't usually need to. I can just go, oh yeah, I haven't given this party a museum apparatus yet.
Right, yeah. I don't think I ever improvise a magic item. Like, straight up create one mid-session. Because I make mine very, like... If I do dramatic custom magic items, they're usually, like, plot-related. Like, integrated to that.
What happens more often for me is a player will walk up to some vendor who has the ability to sell magic items, and they'll go like, okay, but can you sell me like a gun that's also like a grappling hook, but maybe like it teleports me or something? So now we have to improvise, but it's very much collaborative rather than
that's cool.
Like me improvising something.
My usual response when they go up to the guy is like, the guy just says, I just work here, dude. Like, he looks at the shelf. Is that on the shelf? Because if it's not, I can't just make that. Anyway, I have very blue collar, like, shop workers in my games, even in fantasy games, because they're not often like the people who man the stall aren't like the epic level magic forger. Anyway, that's how I approach when people ask for deals on magic items. Like, no, we're not going to go bankrupt. Every adventure here wants 50. Every adventurer wants 50% off everything in the store. Ludicrous.
You want to haggle a Rolex?
Yeah, it's like
you're in the wrong store.
Yeah, you need to go to the back alleys to haggle. Don't go to the shop. Yeah. Anyway, Prophecy Breaker says, "What game mechanic from an obscure game would you like to shout out?" An obscure game to shout out. I just because he was in here earlier, I don't know if he's still in here, Zachary, who made Peasantry. I shout out Peasantry frequently, but I want to shout out the fact that there is a winner at the end of a session of Peasantry. It is a collaborative game. Like, you're ostensibly cooperating, but there's points and achievements, and some of the achievements are hidden. Like, they're in the adventure module, and you keep track of them as the GM. And at the end, you get bonus dirt, like your dirty points, you know, and at the end, whoever's the filthiest peasant, like you get the crown of
Wins
filthiest
the
peasant.
peasant.
Yeah, like, and you win being called the filthiest peasant, and I think that's fun. It's not a competitive game, but if you're building a system about small content, peasantry is specifically designed for one shots as its primary form of play.
I need to play it.
You
Please
do.
invite me or something. I need to play it.
It's the funniest character creation of any RPG I've played by far. It's very simple. I shout it out a lot, but I think it's an example of knowing the format you're making. You know, some people, a lot of people are like, I'm going to make an RPG for people to play year-long campaigns, right? To be played as your forever game. But it's okay, and it's good to be aware of the scope of play you're making. Like, my game is not good for long campaigns. It's good for medium campaigns. Like, 12 sessions, your story's probably done, and some characters have died. Like, that's plenty for mine.
Usually.
Like, the progression, it's not meant to keep going for that long time. So that's one I'll shout out. And the lesson for designers is knowing the scope that your game is supposed to accommodate can lead you to cool decisions. Now, Trek, do you have one you'd want to?
Absolutely. You gave me time to think of one, and it's also someone from your server, actually. I discovered it through the GM's Day Off project. There's this game called Ethereal. It's very cool.
Oh, man. I don't think he's in chat right now, but Ryan.
Unfortunate. Like, if you're familiar with Delta Green, for example, it's kind of similar vibes in terms of the setting, right? You're this secret society trying to hunt down cryptids, usually, or like weird paranormal monsters. And more importantly, you're trying to keep it secret from the regular people who who have not sold their souls to the machine. But one of the mechanics that I find absolutely amazing in it is the concept of essence, where as a player character, you have spells because you're a supernatural being, unlike everyone else in the setting. And whenever you cast, let's say, a transmutation spell, it creates a transmutation essence that goes into a shared pool with everyone else. And this system doesn't have any upcasting, I don't think. But what happens is, if there is a transmutation essence in the pool, you can spend that to empower either your attacks or your future spells. And so can the enemies.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant because it very much like so quickly portrays like the fact that magic is dangerous in this world. It literally stains the world around you whenever you cast a spell. It has lingering effects wherever you use magic.
Yep. It's really neat.
So thematic for this game.
And it creates, not only from the theming of like, there's magic here, it's not our magic. There's just like magic is here, the enemies can use it. But the party build craft is very cool. Like the synergy within the party, because you can have a character, and it's been a while since I played it. Yeah. I was a hard drinking, hard punching private investigator kind of guy. And like, I would spend a certain type of essence that I can't myself generate, but a party member could, right? And now we have synergy, right? That
creates those teamwork moments. Yeah,
that's really cool.
And you can also use it for the shock value of like, you walk into this pet store, there's 12 necromantic essence.
Yeah. Pardon? Yeah. What? Yeah. Exactly. So that's very cool. And yeah, Blaze just saying, yeah, I haven't heard from Ryan in a while. Yeah, I think he's doing other stuff. He's also, I think, working on a video game. Like, he's got another project he's working on. Hopefully we can like get him back in to hang out again because he's a rad dude and working on a very cool game. But that was a very cool, good shout out on that. That is a very novel system, and I haven't really encountered any other systems that have that implementation for Magic, honestly.
Absolutely.
And I will say, I can't talk about the specifics. The Magic system for my next book is inspired by Ryan. Doesn't use the same thing at all, but like that idea of we're not in control, like it's here, right? Like present with us, and the enemies can grapple with it. Also, you still owe me a GM's Day Off. I know. I ran. I think the last one was I ran in Dominant, and I know, like my schedule, as I complain about a lot, it's this pesky day job, right? it's a lot of hours out of my day that I really want to be using in another form. And this pesky insomnia, it's a little inconvenient.
Yeah, that doesn't help either.
Yeah, doesn't help so much. But yeah, I really would love to get back to GM's Day Off. I'd love to get back to the Tabletop Community Spotlight. I know Isaac and the group, they've been really taking the reins on that. But I would love to do more of that. I think so. We've gone a little bit over time, and my lunch break is we're past my lunch break hour.
No.
So I've got to go back to the other desk behind me. But just to shout out, I know most people here are familiar with Trek, but check out Trekiros' YouTube channel. Check out his new product that he just released. Link will be in the description. The whole point of all these interviews, he's playing the little clip again. The whole point of all these interviews is just attempting to promote other indie designers, indie creators, and let them talk about their design philosophy and the games they're making. And so, vote. I always say vote with your dollars for indie creators, right? That's where it's at these days because they're making all the cool stuff. And thank you, everybody. Like I said, don't forget to hit like on this video. It helps promote it to other people to see. And definitely, you should all be already subscribed to Trekiros' YouTube channel. If you're subscribed to mine and not his, correct that. Thank you all so much. I will be live streaming a session of my game tomorrow with some YouTubers. Trek isn't in on that one. It's a different set. But we've got some returning people like Misty Steps and Bone Wizard on that one, and should be a lot of fun. All right, folks, I am back to the day job. Thank you all for hanging out, and thank you so much, Trek. Our schedules finally aligned, and we got to hang out. And it was great. I loved it. All right, folks, have a good one. And